Ace-9, easy raise. I'd like to see a raise a little bit smaller than 2.5, but it's not a big deal. Seven, 7-4 is a very interesting board. You know, it's a very dry board because there's no flush draw. There's not many straight draws out there. At the same time, villain does have way more sevens than you. Because, when he defends in the big blind, he's going to defend hands like 7-4 suited, right? But you're not opening. He's going to defend hands like 7-5 suited, and you're probably not opening that hand either. So this board is very villain dependent. If you believe he's very good and aggressive, you have to be careful. If you think he's kind of nitty and bad, you can see bet way more often. Jack-9 is a decent hand to see bet on the 10-7-6. So not sure what sizing to use. This sizing is okay. I probably would pick a little bit of a larger sizing. And on the 9, I don't think we need to turn our hand into a bluff. We still have hands like King Queen, King Jack, Queen Jack, Spades, maybe like an underpair, maybe even some kind of random hand sometimes. So we don't need to bluff here with a 9. We're going to have the best hand here enough of the time. And now villain leads for, a little bit under half pot, which is kind of strange, right? So, we do have an 8 as an out potentially to, to the super straight. Like the super straight, but not the super straight, because that would be Queen Jack. Kind of close. Generally, when fish check call the flop, I'm assuming this guy's a fish because he's marked green. Let's assume he is. I don't know. Maybe he's really good, but let's assume he is. Then, when fish tend to check call the flop and lead the turn, they tend to have something, right? Especially when there's a 4 straight on the turn. So it's kind of close, to be honest. You did bet third pot, so villain could have some hands like King Jack, King Queen, that he's bluffing with, but he's probably going to bluff them again. It's very, very close. I don't think it matters much, but I think folding is probably best. Ace-9 is not the worst bluffing hand ever. Probably like to see you size up if you do bet. Oh, sorry, you check back to flop, right? So if you check back to flop, you could end up betting your hand for like value / protection. But it's kind of close. We have the pocket aces, and we see Queen, Queen 4. This board is obviously pretty good for you, as in, there's not a whole lot to be afraid of. Villain could have 4s or a queen, but that's about it. I guess he can have hands like, pocket 8s and 9s. It is not a board you can just blindly bet your full range on, but it is a board you can bet a lot on. I wouldn't mind seeing you trap aces here. If villain has a hand like, 10-8 suited, he's virtually dead, right? So giving him a free card is not that bad. And with the Jack-9 now, a couple of villains full houses got there, the flush got there, now he full potted it. I think I'll probably just fold. It is a little bit suspicious because I'm not sure if he bets an 8 for this sizing, right? So he keeps on representing different hands throughout the hand. Like on the flop, he represents an okay hand. On the turn, a pretty good hand. On the river, now an amazing hand. So it is a little bit confusing, to be honest. I think calling is not great. Bluff raising is also questionable, right? You don't want him to just lol snap call you for an 8. Again, with the aces, I wouldn't mind seeing you check behind here. But from what I've seen so far, yeah. Again, it seems like every time you've got a good hand, you're betting. And most of the time you do want to bet, right? But it seems like whenever you check back, you're going to be quite weak. For instance, when you check back to 7-7-4, you were weak. So that's definitely something to be careful of. I know we've only looked at a couple of hands, so it's hard to say if that's really the case. Got nothing, couple hands. That's okay. Ace-9 would be too loose to 3-bet. Ace-10 off plus, and not even every single time. Ace-10 off, does great in terms of making your opponent fold to 3-bets or not folding, but your hand doesn't have that much playability. So, pre-flop, you have a good amount of VV, but post-flop, not so much. So we see MP open here in the middle and the cutoff snap call. So I think he probably isn't that strong. Could he snap call aces here? Yeah, sure. Right. We've all seen it. We've all seen people snap call pre and then they show up with aces. But at the same time, I don't think it happens that often. So I mean, obviously we would squeeze here. I don't think that cutoff is very strong. There's a decent chance that he just misclicked, or, you know, that he just has like an okay hand. So he does play 23, 21, 10, which is, you know, kind of nitty. So yeah, kind of confusing. It probably was just a simple misclick. That's kind of unfortunate, but nothing you can do. Ace-5 offsuit in the cutoff is kind of close, unless somebody raises, of course. Ace-5 offsuit is going to be quite a bit better than a hand like Ace-6 offsuit. Meanwhile, Ace-10 easy raise. And we see Queen 6-5, which is an interesting board. You know, you can't just always bet. You can't just always check. You have to mix it up. Ace-10 is one of those borderline hands to bet with. I would say most of the time you want to end up checking. Hero is making his decision. It's a very tough spot. We also see that villain has kind of nitty stats, So, I mean, I said villain has kind of nitty stats, and we check, and he snap pots it, right? So that, it looks to me like he's just pretty strong. Most regs will take their time. They'll use a bet size which is slightly smaller. So when an unknown recreational player just snap pots it, usually that's just strength, right? And even, yeah, maybe he's got a flush draw, but a flush draw still looking pretty good. So, yeah, pretty easy fold, I would say. Can he start doing that exploitatively and making you want to call your hand sometimes? Sure. But, you know, let's not make it too complicated here.